Hey everybody, if you're watching this video, you have reached the halfway point of the course. You should be completing Module 4 content, and this is the introduction to Module 5. So I'd like to go over the content for this week, and then, of course, the rubric for Milestone 2. So you can see we've got the introduction, an overview. The reading resources is lightning. We've built in sort of a lot of preparatory reading that you can go back and refer to as the weeks progress, but it's a little bit lighter this week because you are taking a lot of time to grow that website. So remember, it's really important, and if you're watching this video, most of you have grades related to the 3-2 exercise. But if you don't have grades on 3-2 yet, the reason is that I can't read your blog or website. And remember, that's distinct from a social media channel like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or what have you. The blog or the website is the foundation of your web presence, and those other tools are different ways to engage with the audience and smaller more specific avenues for audience interaction. So in the module introduction, you'll see that you will draft additional content for your website. You've built the shell of it. Now you're going to fill it in. Okay. You're going to grow your author biography utilizing platform appropriate writing. So as I mentioned to a bunch of students, you really want to be careful about your professionalism on the biography and on any writing on this website. If you're writing to children, you can write in a more excitable social media style manner. But look at all of the professional authors that we've been following, that you've been sharing your ideas about the quality of their sites and their web presence. And remember that you are a professional writer and you want your blogs or your websites, your WordPress sites or Wix or Google sites, you want it to be crisp and clean. We want to avoid emoticons. We want to avoid a lot of exclamation points. We don't want to seem overly excitable. Even if the text itself, the writing that you do is for different audiences, you want to err on the side of being slightly more professional in that website that you design. Now, in your social media interactions with readers, you can be personal there, but you look at the professional websites of most of the authors you've seen and we've talked about, your classmates have talked about, err on the side of platform appropriate writing, which means good grammar, not overly emotional, professional, because it's not just that you're attracting audiences, but guess who else is going to be looking at this information? Agents and editors. And if they think that you are writing in an overly informal way, it means that you're going to be a lot of work in the copy editing processes, and they may not take that gamble on you. So be very careful. Okay. If you're using WordPress, view the WordPress guide that you've already had access to. Review the required list of resources to support you in building out Milestone 2. Complete the draft of the website or blog, and importantly, continue to add content to your social media channel. Tweets, Instagram posts, things that create depth and layering to your web presence. Okay, so building on your platform content, here's that link to that WordPress guide that was mentioned in the introduction. We've got some additional readings, 10 author websites that really do the business. We've got this collection of blogs on YA, illustration design, or Eric Bork's website on screenwriting. So it's not just for the adult author, but we want to take a look at different genres, because those genres actually could be very inspirational to us, even though if we don't mimic it, we could take stylistic notes. Okay, so reading and resources, we've got the creating a website for WordPress. And again, there are similar resources out there for Wix and for Google Sites or for what have you. So use the resources that you can find. And by the way, YouTube is wonderful for finding quick video tutorials on how to do X based on the software that you're using. And of course, we've got these blogging best practices, but I think based on our prior discussion, you're pretty good about that. You know this now. It's just applying it to your own writing. Sometimes we forget. We can see the issues in others' writings, and sometimes we don't see it in our own. Okay. So you're going to get to milestone 2, exercise 5.1. This is the completed draft of your website or blog. Okay. And let me show you exactly how you're going to be graded. So let's click into this rubric. And this is a task that I would ask every student to take the time to go through very specifically before you submit this as a final. Go print this out, and then, because I think we read more slowly when we look at hard copy, and then go check by check. The rubric is long. Look at that sucker. So we're going to go through this now. The prompt is repeated in the gradable rubric. So specifically, the following critical elements must be addressed in this assignment. Okay. Design. The overall design of your platform should be practical, right? You don't want to have everything on the front page. If you have the little hamburger menu, if you have that little hamburger menu, you can put your bio in there. You can put your works in progress in there. If you have everything on one page, unless it's a blog where you have like the links down the screen, it could look busy. So it sort of depends on how is your website designed. Name and headline. So not just a headline or not just your name, but your name and a headline. Headline hints to the theme, right? Craft platform content. If you talked about the fact that you wanted to be like Octavia Butler and do a little bit of critical analysis of other literature, well, then you need to add some reviews of other texts. If you're a screenwriter, maybe you provide some reviews about a particular screenwriting prompts that writers do. So you're giving your audience advice on how to become a screenwriter. If that was something that you talked about, if you talked about giving advice about the craft, I've seen a lot of different ideas, but now you have to sort of make it happen. If you talked about putting up mini chapters and having just dedicated web content, that needs to start to appear. In addition, use resources within the platform. If you said you're going to use polls, use a poll or two. I know a lot of students are doing a really cool thing with using like a little pop-up menus that allow your readers to register like an email to get a newsletter or to get updated content. Okay. Continue to develop your author biography page that reflects your brand now. You've mentioned yourself, but now edit it to reflect your brand, including reference to genre and theme. Include now, this is new, professional credentials that show insight to your experiences and expertise. So if you wanted to write, say you worked in the medical field, and some of you do, and you want to write about experiences in the medical field, and you're a nurse, you could say that you've had 3 years as an ER nurse and 2 years as an ICU nurse. And so that detail will elevate your credibility. That's what Aristotle called ethos. And so we want to see that. Readers will then more likely trust what you say about that content. Reflect on personal background elements and try in this author biography to chunk it. Web writing is chunked writing. Don't want to see a gigantic wall of text. The readers are just not going to read that. So think about developing you have a template for that. You have a draft, but now we've got to grow the author biography. Create a works in progress page with a title and brief description of your creative works that you are working on, even if they're not published. It's great to see book covers, but you could also just have a list, and could be chapbooks of poetry. It could be screenplays in progress. It could be conference presentations. Think of that as almost like a CV, you know? Align the works in progress page with the brand, genre, and themes. The headers are consistent. The colors. You know, if you're talking about horror writing, you want to see the list of horror texts, right? Link to your social media channels. Some of you had the link to like Instagram, and then I would click on it and it would be like Instagram, sign up for your Instagram page. You could get penalized this time around if that link does not work. If the link doesn't take me to your personal Instagram page or YouTube channel or Facebook page or Pinterest page, you're going to lose points. And so you have to now develop the social media channel. It doesn't mean you have to have 50 posts, but if you were using Twitter, I would expect that in the next week you could post 3 or 4 tweets. It doesn't have to be crazy, but we need to layer this experience. Readers, we're going to find you in multiple places, you know. They may want, if you're writing about politics, they may want to see your content on politics, and I expect that you would be in Twitter, right? Draft of the platform synopsis. So in 3.2, you saw a synopsis about your ideas, but now we're developing it further. How does the content of your site reflect your brand and identity? I have an expectation that each of these 3 responses is a chunky paragraph. Don't want a sentence. I want you to take the time to develop and to use good writer's writing. Write your paragraphs with a topic sentence, some evidence from your website, and a discussion of the significance of that evidence. Think of your paragraphs as 5 to 8 sentences on average. That's an average. But topic sentence, data, discussion of the significance of the data. That's how you want to shape this academic side of the professional writing assignment. So here's the rubric. Your name and headline that reflects unique brand, that clearly communicates the subject matter. They're a little bit different, but they're 15% of your grade, so it's a nice chunk. Is your site functional and engaging? I can't grade any of this, by the way, if you don't give me access to it. So if you haven't given me access yet and you don't have a grade, now you know why. Okay? And at this point, if you still haven't given me access and checked it, it's going to get a late ding for exercise 3-2. So updated that immediately so I can get in and give you feedback that you can use. So at the end of week 5, you can develop this document. Okay? Your stated brand. I want to see that what you talk about is reflected in your website. I want to see those credentials and the personal background, the author platform title and brief description, description of the creative works within the work's progress page, that you've built the page, that everything is thematically consistent, that you have those functional links, but the channel does not contain content. If I can't even get to your channel, it just says sign up for Instagram, you're not going to get any points. Luckily, it's only worth 5%. It's a little piece of this puzzle. The purpose of this is to show you that starting a website or a blog as sort of the main hub of your web presence is an endeavor that takes time. We're taking months to build this. And you're still going to be continuing to build this once the class is over. Fingers crossed. Okay? Then, of course, the articulation of your response. Please think, be thoughtful about the style of your site. You want the sizing of your images to be consistent. You want your fonts to be consistent, and you want your grammar mechanics to be professional, even if you're writing to a children's audience. Some of the readers that may be looking at this, think about it this way. What if there are a set of librarians making a determination of whether they want to purchase a selection of your books for their library? So yes, you may write children's literature, but your web presence still needs to be professional enough to attract the right audiences to get your book out to the kids, or to get your series out to the people that you want to read your book. Okay, or your text, whatever text that may be. We have a ton of variety in this class. So that's what's happening in Module 5. You can reach out to me. I will be available most of the week for conferences with the exception of Tuesday. So I look forward to talking with you, and I'm excited to see you submit this assignment here. And remember, this is milestone 2, and this is exercise 5-1, which is the culmination of this week's work. You'll notice, interestingly enough, this week does not have a discussion board. So if we go into course menu and we go to discussions, we've been doing a ton of discussions. And I believe, I want to double check that. Let me just go down to the module. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 6, 1. So you're taking your time. We're moving away from those preparatory discussions, and you're building the site. And this is a big opportunity for everybody. And note, I'm available if you need me, so just reach out. I wish you all luck and happy writing this week.